This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. By my side, as he is always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing well. We are really springing forward into the summer season right now. I wanted to say, where would you like to begin today? Because you actually brought in a couple of awesome stories. So I wanted to see what direction you wanted to take things as we get going here on the Weekly
Maybe you
Scramble
could walk
podcast.
us through this Harvard professor losing her tenure. I think you have that story queued up, right?
I do. Harvard University has revoked the tenure of Francesca Gino, a professor of business administration who was accused of data fraud. Gino has been fighting the allegations for almost 4 years, the Harvard Crimson reports. The student newspaper says that Gino was well known for studying honesty and ethical behavior before she was accused of manipulating observations to support her hypothesis. I'm shocked. That was editorial comment. This is the first time it has occurred. In recent decades, a Harvard spokesperson told Fox News Digital via email regarding the tenure being revoked. Prior to losing academic protection, Gino fought for 2 years to keep her position at the Ivy League school. In 2018 and 2019, she was the fifth highest paid employee at the school, receiving more than $1 million in compensation each year.
Are you kidding me?
The Harvard Crimson reported. Wow.
That's a lot of money to profess.
Gino had authored over 140 scholarly papers and won numerous awards prior to coming under scrutiny by scholars who questioned her data in a series of blog posts published on some site that I'm not familiar with. In 2021, we and a team of anonymous researchers examined a number of studies co-authored by Gino because we had concerns that they had contained fraudulent data. The blog reads, "We discovered evidence of fraud in papers spanning over a decade, including papers published quite recently in 2020. The blog's authors shared their concern with the Harvard Business School in the fall of 2021. Gino, who filed a lawsuit against the blog authors and Harvard, according to The Hill, with parts of the lawsuit still ongoing. She last publicly declared her innocence on her website. Quote, "I did not commit academic fraud. I did not manipulate data to produce a particular result. I did not falsify data to bolster my result. I did not commit the offense I'm accused of, period," she wrote. They made attempts to reach her for comment, but I'm shocked that they didn't immediately hear back from her.
So one of the cool things about this story is that this company called Data Colada, right? It's this group of people that look at data.
Okay, that's the site that I was not familiar with.
Yeah, what they kind of like have this volunteer group. I'm making that up about the volunteers, but it's like this organic group of people that says, well, let's look at this data. That can't be right. Like the data's not right. You know, like when that great news story where they said this guy ran for president, he spent $300 million and there's 300 million people in America. He could have given everybody $1 million. It's like, no, that data's not right, right?
That doesn't math.
But you need to have someone look at this. What do you think I find most fascinating about this story, other than the fact that she's making $1 million bucks?
That's what I was going to guess is the fact, because I was stunned by that too. And you want to know why higher education is losing students?
Oh my gosh, $1 million.
Think about that, and you're thinking about how. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The most fascinating part of that story to you is probably, obviously, I thought the $1 million salary, but maybe the fact that. Maybe the fact that somebody actually called her out on this, because it seems that professors seem to be pretty protected, especially at a school like Harvard.
They do. So a couple of things that I find fascinating. This one is really, really crazy. First of all, she's a business and ethics professor, and she's getting called out on the ethics of her data, which is ironic at minimum.
That's
right,
bad,
to say the least.
Right.
But Reavers, I read this line again. No professor is known to have their tenure revoked since at least 1940, when the rules were formalized, meaning they haven't had one shitty professor since 1940. No one has lost their tenure at Harvard since 1940. That's 80 years.
That is pretty astounding.
Think of that.
Yeah.
That means that, all the companies you've worked for, that I've worked for, the time we've spent with people, not everyone in those last 80 years is a Gold Star recipient.
No.
Right? Some of them have to be less than high quality. and to not have one other person lose their tenure since the rules were formalized seems unstinking believable to me.
I remember too at a point, well, I guess I'm going to have to indict the school that I went to, but I remember at one point I had a professor, and that professor basically said, come on in, started the VCR, got up and left. 50 minutes later, came back into the classroom, shut the VCR up and said, I want 2 pages on this for next class. It was like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday
you're
deal.
kidding me.
And I'm thinking, and I remember he had said something about tenure at some point. I'm thinking, this lazy SOB doesn't give a damn about any one of us in this classroom right now. He's just sitting back, he's collecting his check, and he's happy to go home that day.
Can you blame him?
And wipe his brow going, whew.
Ooh, honey, it was a tough day.
Another tough day
Some
at the
co-eds
office.
asked for a better grade, and I had to say no to him, right? It would be something I don't think I'd want to do. I don't think I'd want to be... With all fairness to professors, no one's asking me to become a professor, right? But that would be a job that I think, okay, you're doing the same teaching you did last year and last semester and over again.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you.
Do you think you'd like it?
No. I think you would be a good professor in like the business sense, or the you would be really good at that because you know how to communicate with large groups of people.
Sure.
You do that for a living, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I think you would be good at that.
Well, that's sweet of you.
Yeah.
Maybe I should see if I can become a tenured professor at Harvard.
No, even better.
I'd take the $1 million.
Even better. Well, yeah, of course. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
That'd be great money. No,
That's
what
true.
you should do is you should go to your girls' school.
Oh.
And you should say, hey, you know what? I just got offered to teach a class, and I looked at your schedule for next year.
Sure.
You'll find it at some point this
4th
summer.
hour's free.
And I said, I think I'm going to teach that class this year. And you know what? Don't worry. I'll try to wear the most embarrassing shirt possible when I come to your
Or I
class.
could just do something like, okay, Addie is my daughter, obviously, and maybe it could be economics. And I'd say, well, if Addie needs to buy a bigger bra, she would, and I could do all the mathematics and the economics on bra sizes and have her just be totally humiliated because I'm pointing out the fact that she's getting bras.
That would be hysterical.
She's probably going to hate me.
know-
I'm 90% sure she's going to hate me after these shows.
I was just having this conversation this morning with somebody. Your job as a parent is to obviously, number one, keep your kid alive.
Sure.
Number two, guide them in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Number three, give them every opportunity that they could ever possibly need. And number four, when the time is right, it's your job to embarrass them thoroughly.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Case in
I
point.
agree with that.
Case in point. So yesterday morning, my youngest son, had his last day of 4th grade. All right.
Oh.
And so there's, I think, 3 4th grade classes at his elementary school. And they were going on their last day. They were going to walk up. I think it's like a mile long. They were going to walk from school up to what we call the Ninja Park. It's really cool.
Oh, sounds fun.
So they got like the obstacle courses
Sure.
and all that stuff. And it's a block from my house. And I knew that they were doing this.
Oh, no.
And so as we were walking to the bus yesterday morning, I said, "Hey, buddy, don't you guys go to the Ninja Park today?" He goes, "Yeah, Dad, I'm super excited." I go, "Oh, that's so cool. What time are you guys walking up there?" He goes, 8:30. Why? And I said, I was just curious. He's like, "Dad, don't." No, because he knew exactly where I was going. I said, "Oh no, I'll just stop by and wave." So I walked in the bus, come back inside, do some stuff around the house, and I'm keeping an eye on the clock. Right, I'm watching Keith Marler give me the weather.
Sure.
And I'm anyway, and so I finally started to see kids because I can see it. It's literally an empty slot, a house, and then my house is
You
where they
just
were
told
walking
everybody
by.
where you live, but okay, yeah.
That's fine, whatever. And so anyway, so I see a kid walk up the sidewalk. I go, yes, it's go time. And so I come out the door, and I've got just my regular clothes on, and I see him. He's wearing his Mike Trout, Angels jersey, not jersey, but jersey, and I'm like, "Leland, hey!"
Oh no!
And I thought about taking the trumpet because I have a trumpet,
Okay.
and I was going to bring out the trumpet and serenade the class, and I kept saying, I see him put his head down with his hand over his face. I'm like, "It's me,
It's me, Dad. It's your daddy."
And I coach
Half the kids.
6 of his buddies
Yeah.
that are walking with him, right? And like, "Leland, is that your dad?"
You should have grabbed like a dirty blanket and go lay it on one of the benches, and then when he got there, you could say, "Hey, buddy, what you doing here?"
Oh, that would have been
right,
so much
just like
cooler.
you were a homeless guy sitting at the Ninja Park.
I've always been jealous. Have you ever seen the great YouTube? It's either YouTube, social media video, I should say, of the kid getting dropped off of the bus on the last day of school, and it's his dad and his buddies who obviously were in a band at one point, and they have the entire setup in the driveway, and they're just rocking out to School's Out, and they've all got the gigantic wigs on and stuff with the bandanas. Like, that's your job
That's
as a
cool
dad.
stuff.
Because is that kid going to be embarrassed in that moment? 100%. Are the kids in that bus going to think it's funny? 100%. Is that kid going to remember that for the rest of his life? 100%.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think we have to think of more of those things and do them. Right? I'm going to think of that.
Frat pack challenge?
Yeah,
Ooh,
how
I
to
like that
embarrass your
idea.
kids that are graduating or going to kindergarten.
I love that idea. And then you can either post a still shot or maybe a 15-second video or whatever. I love that idea.
I did see something that I thought was, you would have cried because you're a crier.
Oh, I am.
So it was kindergartners walking into a time machine.
No, I can't do that.
And then seniors walking out of the other side of it. So they sent a bunch of little kids in, and then they sent the seniors walking out of the time machine. So it wasn't the same kid, obviously, because there was little kids today and seniors. And it was like, oh, is that heartbreaking watching your little sweet 5-year-old come out and then your 18-year-old, like, why are you making me do this?
You've seen the video of the dad that takes a picture of his daughter
every day
for what 22 years.
That's
or whatever.
pretty cool.
Oh my! I don't know how you could sit through that.
If I said to my daughters, I'm going to take a picture of you, they would use a rape whistle. They would call the police on me every time. Like, we have Snapchat, right? So I don't know if you or any of our viewers or listeners are Snapchatters.
I'm not snapper.
It is something that my daughter and I were playing golf the other day, right? And her Snapchat notifications were every single second. I said, hey, you got to shut off that vibration. All I can hear, because her phone was sitting in the cart, and all I could hear is zzz, zzz, as I was, that's why I was shooting so poorly, probably. And, but she, all the time Snapchats, all my girls, all the time Snapchats. So much so, they have over 1 million snaps that they've done. 2 of my daughters are already at 1 million. So they've done something 1 million times on Snapchat.
Wow.
Either received a message or sent a message. And every time I go to like sit next to them and I take a picture holding my phone up where it's me and them, it's like I am shooting death rays at them. Like, no way, don't. Like, I'm only going to share it to you because I don't have friends. And I surely don't have friends besides the frat pack that have Snapchat.
Right.
So who the hell am I going to send it to?
Right.
Chill out.
Right. Relax.
First of all, this is what you look like. The pictures are what you look like.
Wow.
If you think you're going to look better, this is what you look like. It's called the camera.
Yeah, and you do see, I mean, everybody and their brother is posting on social media that it was their kid. You know, they do the first day of school and the last day of school. And I mean, people I know are very guilty of that as well. So I'm not here to judge. I do too.
Yeah.
That's what social media was intended for. But you called me a crier. I can tell you right now what got me the other day. I think this was either Tuesday night. No, last night, because I would have been watching the Timberwolves brutal game. This would have been Tuesday night. And, you know, I'm just scrolling and doing whatever. Oh, no, it was right before I was going to bed. So I'm just scrolling social media, which, because, you know, that really helps you get your quality
winds you
REM
down.
sleep.
Yep,
Yeah, right,
exactly.
But I can tell you what it was. It was the I'm going to give props to the Mankato East Cougars baseball team, high school baseball team. You know, past rival of my Faribault Falcons. But they did this. I thought it was pretty cool. So they had all their seniors line up on the foul line, and they had these gigantic signs in front of their faces, and it was their Little League photo.
Oh, that's cute.
And so they'd have the Little League photo of, you know, little Jimmy holding his plastic baseball bat, and then he'd drop it down, and now he's this grown man playing
with a beard.
as a senior.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that got me big time.
Don't you love that you're just such a wuss?
I'm such a wuss when it
It's so
comes.
cute.
It combined two things. Kids and baseball.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Kids and
what I love. It
baseball
struck me.
and
you know
time.
what? And that damn Twitter, it knows my algorithm. So it knows damn well, we're going to put this in Reaver's timeline because we know damn well he's going to like this and probably even retweet it.
Twitter's too much reading. I need more pictures.
Okay.
Even when it was 144 characters or whatever it was,
Still
140,
too much.
Still seemed like too much reading. I got to go ahead. I do have a good buddy. His name is Gary, right? He's a banker.
Okay.
And he'll text me, Reavers, and he'll send a text that is, I don't know if you have friends that do this, 300 lines long. And I'll either respond back with the letter K just to piss him off. And I sat him down and I said, Gary, what are you doing? No one is reading a text. That's it. I have to scroll up and down, right on
It's
my
a
phone
novel,
to do it.
basically.
I'm just not even coming close to reading it. And I asked him, do you voice text this? Because if you voice text it, I kind of get it. Where you're talking in your phone and it's turning into a text. But he's like, no, I typed that out. And I said, what kind of girl are you? Weirdo. Like what? I mean, what kind of guy does this? And Gary just happens to be this badass Afghanistan veteran. It's really weird. And I'm going to talk about Gary. His name is Gary White. I'll throw this out there. He works for Cherokee Bank. He's a great guy, right? And he's the only guy that I know who was a banker and then gets called up to active duty and goes to Afghanistan. Then goes back to being a banker. Then gets called up to active duty to go back to Afghanistan. Then he's a banker. Then he gets called up again to go. I mean, his life for years was, I'm a banker, an adult man. He's 60. Right. And when Afghanistan happened, he was probably 40 something. Right. And he's working as a banker. And then all of a sudden, honey,
I got to go
again. Got to go again. And just, it was nonstop for him. And he tells these stories, Reavers, that are just heart-wrenching. Some are lighthearted, but some are just heart-wrenching.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just, war is heart-wrenching, right? That doesn't matter, though. All of that doesn't matter because he writes such long text messages. So all the respect I have for him, all the charity events I want to do, go away when he sends me a text message. I was like, my God, that was 800 words. I'm never reading that. I'm never reading that. So the only good response to somebody who sends you a long text is K. Just the letter K.
Or the thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah. Like, you know, and always do it in a different skin tone than yours, right? Because that's equity.
Right.
That's equity.
DEI.
That's it. That's
We're
right.
all about it.
Yeah, smart, isn't it?
Speaking of banking, how about you check out my friends at North American Banking Company? You can check them out in any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, maybe finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. And right now is a great time to put your home's equity to work for you if you've got that home project or at the cabin, because they're going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And you can do that online at nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but with the unparalleled service of a community bank. And they are locally owned and operated. And here's why that's important. That means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. So once again, check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. The Weekly Scramble. We'll be right back.
Oof. For those of you watching on YouTube, that was Reavers doing another great read. And Bilski, I don't know how to say this, Bilski.
Oh, crap. I got to get back to him, by the way. Thank you for
what I need to say is those are great reads, and you do a professional job, but we should just have Bilski on every once in a while, because if you get to know him, you just go do banking with him.
For sure.
Right?
Because he's an awesome guy.
He's just an awesome guy. And I kind of want to ask him, like, how are they doing with car loans? I mean, are people buying cars right now? Are people buying houses?
That's a good point.
I don't know. I assume maybe they are.
I was talking to people in the mortgage industry yesterday, and business is not good.
Oh, really?
Not good at all. Well, mostly because there's no inventory.
Yeah, there's no inventory. That could change, though. That could change. Okay, well, thank you.
Do you want to do the Colorado Springs story or the grass story?
The grass is evergreen.
Okay.
So
let's do the Colorado Springs.
Yeah, is this going to be on? Are we going to share this, or are you going to cut this?
I'll probably cut this.
Okay. Because I have some travel next week, so I was hoping we could record maybe even tomorrow. I have Monday. I'm here Monday, unless we can do 2 on Monday.
I can do. It'll be tough on Monday to do 2 because I have sports talk.
Yeah, could we do?
We could do tomorrow.
AM tomorrow early, because I have an event.
Hold on, let me think. We could.
I would leave this on YouTube, to tell you the answer.
We could do it at like 10.
I think that might be perfect. I would leave this.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to leave this, but this is us show planning.
Gotcha.
This is behind the scenes stuff. You don't get this everywhere else.
Friday. Okay. Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
We could do tomorrow. At
okay.
10.
Then let's do the Colorado Springs mayor indictment, I think.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Michael, you sent this story along, and I find it fascinating, and I'm going to give you a quiz at the end of why I find this fascinating. Are you ready?
Yes.
A African-American media personality was convicted last week of faking a hate crime against Colorado Springs Mayor Yemi Mobolade to get votes for him, with the ringleader Derrick Bernard testifying that he was in on the hoax, and the FBI testifying that the mayor misled agents about his contact with Bernard. Mobolade, who is Nigerian, won the election as a left-leaning independent in the traditional Republican stronghold in 2023 after the N-word was scrawled on one of his campaign signs and a cross set ablaze in front of it. Video of the scene was sent to the media, resulting in a swell of sympathy. At the 5-day trial in federal court for Bernard and his wife, Ashley, that concluded May 23rd, FBI agent Ethan Doherty testified that the mayor falsely denied contact with Bernard despite records showing the pair was in contact before the day of the hate crime and afterward. Doherty testified that when the FBI interviewed the mayor, Mobolade said that he was 120% sure that he did not have a phone call with Bernard 3 days after the incident and that Mobolade seemed nervous, according to local news. Doherty also revealed that Mobolade began using a new cell phone the day after the hoax.
Why?
I'm sure that was purely coincidental.
Pure coincidence.
The FBI's courtroom testimony corroborated Daily Wire reporting from November of 2024, which Mobolade denied at the time. Mobolade then told the local paper that politically motivated websites will weigh in with no record for accuracy or truth, and his deputy chief of staff told the city council the article was unfounded. He produced a video in response saying, "I did not lie to the FBI." Oh, that's a tagline right there.
That's a rap song if I ever heard one.
And claiming that he had paperwork from the Department of Justice showing that he was a victim. But a Justice Department document produced at trial said that Mobolade was at one point under investigation, that the investigation was closed but could be reopened, and that its closure should not be considered an exoneration. The hoax began after an April 12, 2023 election in which neither Mobolade nor Wayne Williams, a white Republican, received a majority, triggering a runoff. According to court papers, the next day Bernard texted Mobolade, "There's a plot amidst. I'm mobilizing my squadron in defense and for the final push. Black Ops style, big brother. The Klan cannot be allowed to run the city again."
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, my God.
So allegedly, this Mobolade wrote the N-word on one of the campaign signs, made this cross, and if you look at a picture of the cross, it looks like two chopsticks put together, tied together and lit on fire, right?
Yep.
Really poor craftsmanship.
Yep.
You got to have a better chunk of garage wood to make a cross. If you're gonna do a racial hoax like this,
honestly, do you know what it looks like? It looks like they went to a hardware store. I don't want to indict you guys.
Yeah.
It looks like they went to a hardware and grabbed two paint
sticks. Honestly,
that's exactly what it looks
really
like.
does. They're just cheap things. But I found this so strange. One thing that I found interesting about this whole thing, Reavers,
All right.
is the story says a black radio host convicted of staging a burning cross. And you said an African-American radio host.
Yeah.
You self-edited.
I did.
How interesting is that?
Well, I tend to do that a lot of times with stories. And again, I just do it for no other reason other than I just want it to sound better.
I get it. Like, I'm not indicting you on anything.
Okay.
I just thought that was so, because this is a Daily Wire piece. These are not.
Sure.
This isn't a white radical website you're reading this from. This is a big news agency. And I thought that was really interesting that you said that. The one thing that I even thought was more interesting is you stopped right before this paragraph that said Bernard, the guy who did the fake hate crime, who is now serving life in prison without the possibility of a parole for an unrelated killing, testified that Mobolade, along with state rep Regina English, helped plan the hoax. I mean, it's so shocking that this guy was a radio DJ, Bernard. He said to this guy, "We're going to get you in. You're going to be the next guy. We got your back. The Klan is not going to take over this town." Well, no crap. The Klan's not going to take over the town, because there's probably not a Klan in that town.
Because
right?
it's 2025.
Because you had to make it up. You had to make it up, and he ended up winning. His guy ended up winning. But then somehow, in all this tumultuous stuff that he's going through, he ends up killing somebody. And if you get prison without the possibility of parole, you did some bad stuff. You killed somebody in a bad way. This wasn't vehicular homicide. This was, I murdered somebody on purpose, And I find that story so damn fascinating. I am so tired of these fake crimes. If they find out that this mayor if they willingly know that he did this, right? And they get him all the way, whatever the hate crime was that the person would get for doing the hate crime. Let's say, for example, if someone I know went and wrote something on a sign and they burned a cross, and that was 90 days in jail for doing that, right?
Yep.
Because it was a hate crime, or a year in jail, the guy who was part of this, even though he didn't do it but benefit from it, should go to jail for the year. He should get the
100%.
same
Yep,
crime.
absolutely.
When someone fakes a rape crime, right? And you find out that it was a faked, there's clear and utter evidence that it was a faked rape allegation. That person should go to jail for the exact same amount of time that the person who would have been charged and maybe indicted for the rape, right? If you would have gone to jail for 5 years and you fake a rape crime, you go to jail for 5 years. You can't have a society where people do this. You can't. And this is such a weird story. Now I want to look up who he killed. Like, I want to find out who Bernard killed, like a radio guy.
You almost want this to turn into some type of Netflix series.
I 100% do, and it should. And we have to throw a little caveat that when we use this guy named Bernard and a radio DJ, this is not the one and only Tom Barnard.
No.
This
No
is
relation.
someone else, Bernard.
Right.
Right. We want to make sure that's super clear.
Can I offer you the piece of this story that I found least surprising?
What's that?
The fact that the person who faked a hate crime to benefit a local politician, and the fact that the same person who faked a hate crime to benefit a local politician was also accused of first-degree murder and is in prison for the rest of his life, was in radio.
Wasn't it right? Does that not seem weird to you?
Not even remotely close to being weird to me.
You have worked with Joe Citre for a long time.
Well, but that's just it. The crew that I work with, we're a little odd, but we're all pretty much normal human beings. Let's dive deep, shall we? The industry of radio produces some weird MFers.
Why do you think that is?
Because you got to be a little off to be able to do this as a living.
Not good looking enough for TV,
No,
right?
heavens no. I mean, Mike, I when you brought up this story, I was thinking of all of the different people that either I have worked with or that I know who have either served time or are currently serving time. And I'm above 10. I can't remember if it's 12 or not.
Can I ask
just in
somebody?
my time that I have been in this business.
This is a guy that I often think about. And I'm going to bring it up.
All right.
You can edit this out later on.
We don't need to.
I hope he's still alive. Whatever happened to, is it Jeff Dubé?
Yes.
Whatever happened, he was a hugely entertaining guy on the radio. Do you know?
I worked with Jeff.
You did?
A couple of times.
Was he a fun guy? He seemed like I really enjoyed him.
Jeff, I'll say this about Jeff. I worked with Jeff 2 different spots, one being here.
Sure.
And I worked with him across town. Jeff was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
That unfortunately
Had a demon.
Unfortunately, got mixed up with some bad people.
And
I feel bad because Jeff was always nice to me.
Do we know? Is he in town? Does he do anything? Should we have him on the podcast?
No, we should not.
Okay,
we should not.
I don't know. Well, if
I can tell you the last I had heard, because I do believe that I'm still friends with him on social media.
Okay.
I do believe, yes, he is still with us.
Well, FYI to Jeff, if you're listening, I always enjoyed your sense of humor. I thought you were really good on the radio. I don't know if we can have you on the podcast. But, hopefully life's treating you well, right? I think a lot of our listeners know who he is, right? And know him, and I appreciate it.
And I produced a show with Judd before I got moved to, because I was doing Judd's show in Garage Logic, and then Dave Harrigan took over for me. Dave Harrigan is now over at WCCO, and then I started doing the night show with Patrick and then Tom Pelissero.
Okay.
So I was kind of, floating with all the different shows. So anyway.
So if you were to get married, if you were to renew your vows, Jeff would probably not be invited.
Probably not.
Okay, just checking.
Probably not. His name is Mike Freneloni. My name is Chris Reavers. This is the Weekly Scramble podcast. And
during our little break there, I looked up
the story.
Jeff. I looked up Jeff.
Yep.
God bless you, Jeff. Good luck. Right.
I hope you find peace, Jeffrey.
I hope you find peace. Honest to God, Reavers, that's one thing that I know about you is you genuinely wish the guy nothing but the best, right?
Well,
nothing but the best.
Here's what I'll say about him, and I've said this on the air before, so that's fine. Mm-hmm. When we were all like young interns, right?
Sure.
So I don't think he'd mind me sharing this either. So it was me and Doogie and all the guys that worked together over there. Mackie was one of them. Yeah. We all had no money.
Sure.
But we were desperately trying to get into this business and working, a lot of hours, not making a whole lot of money. He was always the guy that would take us out for lunch.
Oh, really?
Always.
That's nice.
Always was that guy.
So he was your Weinstein, meaning you had to get through him to get a better job? Is
No.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that. I didn't know.
Like literally, he knew because he was us at one point.
Sure.
And he knew that these kids don't have any money, and I'm going to take them out for lunch.
Sounds like an easy way to take advantage of a young guy, right? Hey, I got these parties that P. Diddy's throwing. I want you to come to one of these.
I've always wondered if we should get into that subject, but there's nothing really to gain by talking about it, in my opinion.
I don't know if he did anything wrong.
Oh, I don't think I'd go there, Michael.
I don't know the story. Let me restate that. But they're going after him really hard.
Well, but
he's definitely beat up people horribly, right? That's wrong. But every single accuser is trying to get back together with him, sending him messages saying they want to work with him. How does that work?
You know what? Let's let the story play out a little bit more, and then let's take a deeper dive into it. But I just think that there's way too many people with kind of the same exact story, and I just think that we should wait for more of that to develop.
I think like the garage logic Joe Souchere rule is wait 72 hours. We should maybe talk about this in 72 years.
100%.
Like just
72 months.
Maybe just totally forget about it. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I want to make that clear on the radio and YouTube. Yep. What I'm saying is every single person that accused him of atrocities, many people were asking him to hang out still.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not sure.
That seems odd. I know every time you and I hang out and you do something weird, I don't call you for like 2 weeks.
Can I read you an email? It was based upon a subject that we brought up. I don't know if this was the last show or maybe a couple of shows ago, but this is from Lisa. I don't think she minds me sharing her first name. She says, to Reavers, Lisa, I understand your decision for youth baseball walk-up music now with the smiley face. I'll leave the team names out of it. My son's team played another team last night in a suburb in the Twin Cities. You see how I'm self-editing on the flag in there? We usually play music before our boys are up to bat each inning, meaning I think between the innings and stuff like that. Then there's short little walk-up clips. Well, one of the other dads from the other team thought it would be really funny to play their music at the same time, but louder.
Oh, nice.
He did this every single inning. It was super annoying, and I could see how that would turn anyone off of music at youth baseball, LOL. And this was after that same dad got a warning from the umpire for yelling at him. Oh, I'm sure that guy was super classy.
Sure, keeping it classy.
I had a plan on what I would say if he confronted me about it. Settle down, Danzig. So that, you know, that clip was from? It's from Beavis and Butthead.
Sure.
That I played on GL the other day. So, Lisa, I loved your email so much. That's why I wanted to share it with Michael. And I got to say, I get it. I know that the kids, they love the walk-up music because they want to be like the big leaguers. But boy, oh boy, I don't know why. I don't want to be the crusty old guy, get off my lawn. I really, really don't.
Yeah, you want to progress with the times.
But something about it just irritates the living crap out of me, and I cannot put my finger on it.
And so let me understand the story right. This other opposing coach.
No, it was a dad. It wasn't a coach.
Okay, just an opposing dad was playing his music real loud when her teams.
Oftentimes, a parent is the one that handles the music either in between innings or the walk-up.
So there's a guy
songs.
sitting out behind the fence, and he sees number 11 walk up, and he says, number 11 is AC/DC's Big Balls. Let's got to kick that in.
Well, usually said parent will normally sit fairly close to the dugout.
Oh, so you can't hear. You can hear his Pink Pony Club and all this great, right? All this new music that kids love. I'm against. Well, I'm going to go on the record. Those stupid sliding gloves, dumb.
So
it's ruining baseball.
Much like I have the list of things that Royce doesn't like.
Absolutely.
Should I start the list of things that Mike hates about youth sports?
Adults wearing jerseys with other men's names on it.
All right.
That's clearly one of my biggest pet peeves. Sliding
gloves. I shouldn't wear my Justin Jefferson sweatshirt, hooded sweatshirt?
Unless you're making love to Justin Jefferson, I don't think you should probably do it. Unless you two are dating, I don't think you should probably do it.
All right, hold on. Adults
wearing jerseys. Right. If it's your kid's jersey, like if your kid's a professional athlete and you're wearing his jersey, you can do that.
Okay.
Sliding gloves, youth walk-up music, right? And people who have removable handicap placards in their car. So they let their kid use the car. The kid pulls up, parks in the handicap spot, uses the removable placard, hangs it from their thing. Okay. I want to know that I want the car to have one of those huge stickers on the back or a license plate with like a broken wheelchair on it. So I know like that person I need to help.
Okay, well, I may have been in violation of that one at one time.
Why is that?
But it's because when my dearly departed grandmother was still alive, I had to take her to a couple of appointments.
Sure.
So I did use her handicap spot, but I was, like I'd take her to Mayo.
But then you got out with her. And it was obvious that someone needed help.
Okay, so that's different.
Right? You didn't bound out, do 15 push-ups on the ground, and run in.
Because I was trying to get some stuff at Fratelloni's.
Yeah, you wanted to get in early at the Starbucks. You wanted to get first in line. Okay, that's a good start.
That's not bad.
That's a good start.
So my rule about the jersey, and this is, because I don't really wear jerseys anymore. I
hope not.
Even if, I'm trying to think of the last time I wore a jersey. It was probably one time. I remember what it was. It was when I took William to the Bills game.
Okay.
So I just did it to be part of the crowd.
Josh Allen jersey?
No, I had a Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas
was my guy.
Old school. Hey, I can almost go that. Okay, wait. That was my other rule.
That's what I was going to go with.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always found it acceptable if you wore a jersey of a player who was older than you.
There you go.
Is that okay?
Yes, but you can't be, he had to be older than you while you were still under 18.
Oh.
Right? So you had to be a youth. And you had to look up at, like, Walter Payton. Like, when I was young, Walter
25?
Payton was unbelievable.
25?
25 is weird. 25, you should be dating girls.
Yeah, but college guys wear jerseys.
Why? Why? It's if I'm wearing a jersey with another man's name on it, I might as well give my girlfriend to that man. That's all I can think of. It's some guy is trumping you. You are buying. And by the way, jerseys are not $11. You're spending $200 on some jerseys so you can wear some other adult man's name on your back.
Right.
And when he walks by you, you say, "Oh my God, please throw me your socks or your Jim Warren jock strap that I can hold on to and get signed." It's so weird. And when I go to a Vikings game and see all these men doing it, what the hell is going on? What is going on here?
The worst is
marketing
when you are on when you're at an event, whether it's a football game or whatever you're at, and you can tell that the guy sitting next to you is wearing his lucky jersey, and it probably hasn't been washed since about 1997. Yeah. That's not good.
Or guys that wear basketball jerseys in winter, like it's cold outside, but your pits are just rubbing together. You don't have anything in there, right? It's like a muscle man shirt.
You mentioned the expense.
Yeah.
I told you I went to the Twins game on Saturday, and we were going to get a couple of things, right, to eat and whatever. And before we left, on our way out, we were going to walk through the pro shop that's right outside the stadium, right? It's connected to the stadium, but basically you walk there on your way out. And so we walked there, and I thought, because normally what I say to the boys is I say, if we every time we go to a new stadium, I like to get them a hat from that stadium, and hats are not cheap anymore.
Yeah, $30 at minimum, right? Oh, way more than that?
So
that's why I don't have hats.
William wanted, he said, well, my Twins hat doesn't fit me anymore. I want a new Twins hat. And I said, all right, well, let's go look. Let's just go look, because if anything, we can order one online for basically half the price. So he wears adult size, he's 13.
He's getting big enough, yeah.
But the cheapest hat I could find that he liked was $58.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I even went to like the sale rack item, and this again at Target Field, and I'm not singling out the Twins. Every professional team does the exact same thing. All their stuff is ridiculously overpriced. The sale rack, okay? There was a really cool, like a gray Twins hoodie that almost kind of looked jersey quality. Like it would be something that a coach in the field would have worn. Sure. It was really cool looking. And it was a hooded sweatshirt, so obviously it struck me. Yeah. And it said, 50% off.
Oh, no.
50% off still meant it was $170.
You're $170. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
At 50% off?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And it was cool. It had the Twins.
How cool could it be?
But I'm like, who are these people?
Was it made by Balenciaga or what is it?
Exactly. I just thought, who are these people that can afford this stuff?
And why would anybody do it? People do it. I know I've spent all my savings on pasta reverse, all of it, and it was worth every penny.
So
I got to prep you on those. I prep you. When you were looking at that jersey, or when your kids had it, $58, and did you say to yourself, how much time do I need to spend with the 100%. Garage Logic group? How much time do I need to spend listening to Fratelloni's B-crap?
This is why I was not joking when I said earlier about you teaching a business class, because ever since I started working with you, I have adopted that mentality where I've said, okay, that's going to cause me to work 3.5 hours or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
It just, I've always
How much
done
do I
that.
want this $170 thing?
I don't.
It's going to be hours worth of work. No way. No thanks.
If you were to look at my wardrobe inside my closet, it would consist of baseball shirts that I've acquired from coaching, client, because I love quarter zips, right? I'm wearing a quarter zip right now. I love quarter zips, so when clients send me quarter zips, they know I'm going to wear them, right? I've got my sweet North American Banking Company quarter zip. It's one of my favorite shirts. And stuff from Goodwill. That's exactly what I wear.
I had given my wife a quarter zip, and I said, go try it on, right? And then she sent me some naked photos.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And
Lucky you.
And she said, what'd you think? And I said, thought you were going to try the quarter zip, but I really liked the naked photos. And she said, liked? What do you mean you just liked the naked photos? And I said, hey, before you get all crazy, I just want you to know that my friends loved the photos.
You just liked them.
I know. I see. My mom's going to call me and say, "Why would you tell a story about Nicole being naked? Because when was she naked?" I'm like, "Mom, it's a
theater.
joke.
It's just theater.
and it's a joke. I've never seen my wife naked, and that's not a joke. Sadly,
Mom, let me let you in on show
yeah,
business.
show business.
Most of the stories that involve close family members of ours, there's an ounce of truth to it, but most of it's fabricated just because we want to make the story
My
better.
wife is a woman. That's the total truth. There's no joke on that. Reavers, you are the best.
Thank you, Michael. Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it certainly helps us out as well, and we really do appreciate it. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time here on the Weekly Scramble podcast. Until then, cheers.